even this small talk is nice to hear. I first first of all, I'd like to thank you know, if it wasn't for her, you know, it couldn't have been done. And I'm so happy to meet so many of you, and I hope many more will join. And I'd like also to thank, you know, I have a lot of material. Oh, this is Karina. Hi, Karina. This is my niece. Say hello.
Hello.
So I
Hi, Karina.
Hello, hello. Hi. Oh, wow.
Okay, now I'm going to mute you soon, so make use of it as well. I also would like to thank my members of my family, my two sisters, and my nephew, and other people who are helping me. I have so much stuff, so much material, but it's only made for Hebrew speaking people. So to turn this to English speaking people is a very, very difficult task. And it's a very big challenge, but I like challenges. And I hope that with the help of like people who are contributing, you'll get really a very good course. You'll learn, and you'll get a taste of our something like of our heritage and our history of the Jewish diaspora in Iraq. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Oded Amit, and this is a very elegant Hebrew name, Israeli Hebrew name. I wasn't born like, I was born in Iraq in 1947, and you must know that most of the Jewish diaspora in Iraq left Iraq until 1951. After the Farhud, which I'm sure that most of you heard about, like when there was this terrible savage attack on Jews, and hundreds were killed and thousands were injured and so on. That was in 1941. After that, sorry, I'm going to mute everybody, okay? Please, sorry. Okay. After 1941, after the Farhud, there was a secret organization. They called it Nu'a. Nu'a means movement. There was a secret movement of Jews in Iraq. Also, they were trained by Israeli agents who came all the way from then Palestine to Iraq and organized these groups, and they were taught Hebrew, and they were taught how to use weapons and so on. And little by little, thousands of them just escaped from Iraq. In 1950, there was this law that allowed Jews to leave Iraq legally and to leave everything behind, all their belongings. And almost all of the 140,000 Jews left Iraq by 1951, okay, except for a small handful, about 3,000 Jews who decided to stay behind because they wanted, including my family. My father was an accountant, and he knew that the situation in Israel then was very difficult. They didn't have housing, didn't have enough food, not work, so he decided to stay behind. And I grew up in Iraq. I grew up in Baghdad. I was born in Baghdad, and I stayed there until I was 23 in 1970, and then I escaped and came to Israel. Now, the situation of this Jewish minority was always, it depends who is in power at that time. We had some very good times between 1958 and 63. I don't imagine, I don't expect you to remember this, but like there were some rulers who were very, very civilized and treated Jews in a very good manner. And there were rulers who were really, really very hard. Anyway, things were up and down the whole time until the 6-Day War. When the 6-Day War happened and the Arab armies had such a shameful defeat, the Iraqi army, who took a small part in that war and lost some of its soldiers, when they came back after 67, they just decided that since they cannot fight the Jews in Israel, the Israelis, so they're going to persecute the small Jewish minority that couldn't do anything about it. Like we were like sheep inside a very, very big herd of wolves, and every time they took somebody, and I was put in jail for a while. Friends of mine were put in jail for long periods. And then what happened, the worst thing that happened was in January 1969, when they hanged 9 Jews in the public square of Baghdad, with hundreds of thousands dancing around their corpse, and just because they were Jews, nothing else. We're not allowed to leave Iraq, not even to leave Baghdad. We were out of jobs, and our telephones were cut. We were not even allowed to take money from the bank, except for a very small allowance. And hundreds of Jews were put in jail. Some of them were hanged, as I just said, and some of them were tortured to death. And thank God, in 1969, the end of 1969 and 70s, Jews started to just escape in small groups using the Kurds who lived in the north of Israel, and they were fighting they wanted to have their own independence, and they're fighting the central rule in Baghdad, and Israel was helping them. So they helped us to leave Iraq to Iran, which was then under the government of the Shah, on very good terms with Israel, and they let us reach and get us papers to come to Israel. This is in short some of my life history. And so I speak Judeo Arabic very fluently. This is my mother language. And when I didn't speak any Hebrew, I learned Hebrew here. By the way, I'm a civil engineer by profession, and I worked for an Israeli public company called the Standards Institute for about 30 years. And I left on early retirement, and I went back and started looking for my roots again. And I started putting this course together. It took me quite a long time, and with many help from people, professionals, how to teach. I was never a teacher, but I enjoy doing that, and I passed this course many times in different places in Israel, in Ramat Gan, in Or Yehuda, in Rehovot, and I'm a member of a very big group called Mishamrim Tasafa Iraqi, like preserving the Iraqi language. This is and I upload many posts there. And I do all kinds of things. I wrote songs in Judeo Arabic. I wrote sketches in Judeo Arabic. I'm also, by the way, an actor. I have do small parts here and there. I love music. I like to sing and to play some guitar and organ, things like that. And I love sports. And I have 3 children, 5 grandchildren. And I'm very happy to start. Hey! Okay, first of all, I want to show you a paper. I'm going to send it to you, okay? The first thing, what's important when there's somebody chatting, I cannot follow the chats as well. So something that is basic when you are learning a language without learning to read and write it. And I wrote this paper Okay, like the purpose of transliteration, it's called transliteration. When you write a certain language using the letters of another language. Okay, you want to bypass the time-consuming task of learning the alphabet of that new language. Okay. Now, it is not an easy task. You can read, use because not always the letters that you use in this new language exist in the old language that you know already. Like in spoken Judeo Arabic, some of the letters do not exist in the English language, and not even in the Arabic language. So we have to make things up. Okay. Now when I first started preparing for this course, I went, and you wouldn't know how many methods of transliteration there is from from Arabic using English letters. There's even an ISO standard. ISO is the International Standards Organization. They came together and put a fabulous big standard saying how to write Arabic using English letters. And there are so many others, but all of them are so difficult, and they have to use special keyboards. And I didn't want to go through, with all that. I wanted to make it as simple and straightforward as possible to all of you, so that you can write with handwriting and you can use a regular keyboard to type in Judeo Arabic. And I hope that the things that I put together would be enough. We tried it out with my two wonderful sisters who speak Arabic as good as me, one of them, but they both live abroad, and it looks that it's working okay. I hope it will work, and we'll see if we need any changes during our course. This is, of course, my first course in that, and that's why I hope that everything would be okay. So, like, how do I cover for Judeo-Arabic letters that are not present in the English language? So I'm losing apostrophes. Okay, all right. Okay, apostrophes, gerish in Hebrew. Okay, when we have emphasis, we're going to write this letter twice. There are letters that are emphasized.
Oded, sorry. Is that a written language?
What?
Like
Judeo-Arabic?
The Judaic, it's a written language, or just?
No, it is not a written language. Okay, okay. I'll tell you something. It's a good question. By the way, there are, people sometimes come to me and tell me, we would like to study Arabic. And my answer is, which Arabic are you talking about?
Right.
Like, there is only one written Arabic language, and the classical Arabic. Okay, all the rest are spoken Arabic. And spoken Arabics, you wouldn't believe. Like in Iraq, we have at least 2 spoken Arabic dialects. One is the Jewish, our Judeo-Arabic, which is about, say, 80% Arabic, and the rest is Hebrew and some Turkish and Iranian and other languages, even English words. And there is the Muslim Arabic, which sounds very different. Okay, so we're talking about Iraq. The Christians speak something like quite similar to what the Jews used to speak, but it's still different. You go to Egypt. Please let me continue. In Egypt, they have a whole different kind of spoken Arabic. In Lebanon, a whole different. In Israel, the Palestinian speaks a different Arabic. And the most difficult Arabic to understand is the Moroccan Arabic, because it is really very difficult to understand. So, like, if Arabs or Arabic-speaking people want to speak to each other, the best thing to do is to speak the classical Arabic, this is what in all Arab countries, and even in Israel and all Muslim countries who study Arabic, because in Muslim countries they have to pray in Arabic, so they also speak Arabic. This is the universal Arabic. Okay, we are going to study the Judeo Arabic, which is over 1,000 years old. Okay, like maybe you know, Jews arrived to Iraq 2,600 years ago. This is the oldest diaspora in the Jewish history, 2,600 years ago. And the Arabs only took over Iraq about 1,400 years ago. So before that, Jews in Iraq spoke Aramaic, okay, and spoke Hebrew, but they did not speak Arabic. And little by little, after the Arabs conquered Iraq, they started, using Arabic as a basis, but it's different. I don't want to go deeper in that. Okay, let's go back to the way I tried, to put together a transliteration method that is easy to use. Okay, so I added apostrophes. Now I doubled some of the letters when you use emphasis, but there are letters that are made of two letters, like sa and the and ha and sha and so on. So I put it in parentheses I want to stress or emphasize one of the letters, so I put them in parentheses. Now, okay, I'm saying here again that you can use the English keyboard. It's easy. And now I'm going to show you the table. Okay, now some of these I put here letters also. Are they big enough? Or I'll make it just a bit bigger.
You're going to send it to us?
Of course, of course, of course. Now, okay, A is easy. Okay, this is the way you write A in Hebrew, and this is the way you write Aleph in Arabic. Okay, B is easy, no problem. Ta is easy. Okay, now we're going to a letter that is used in Arabic, both Universal Arabic and Judeo Arabic, is the letter Tha. You have this in English, but you don't have just one letter. It's TH. Okay, so I used TH to cover for the Tha that we have in Judeo Arabic. Okay, now Ja in Arabic, I wrote it as a J, J, and it is used like in jar. Okay, like sometimes you have the G in English that you use it as a J, like in George. We are going to keep the G only for a Ga. Okay, we're going to get to that. Now this is a letter Kha. Kha is also used very much in Judeo Arabic and in regular Arabic, and this is already have been done. I mean, I know that for a fact that you use KH for a Kha. Okay, so KH is Kha. Now the D is regular. Now there is a Tha and there is a Tha, like when you say this. Okay, so the Tha, I cannot use the same thing as I used before, so I just put an apostrophe, and so we can tell the difference between the Tha here and the Tha here. Okay, now R is no problem. Okay, and we'll get to another letter. Okay, we'll get to it. Okay, Ra. Za is easy. Okay, Sa is easy. S. Okay, and Sha is HH as in English. Okay, now here is a letter that's a bit problematic maybe for some of you. It's a Sa. Sa is not a Sa, is a Sa. Okay, أصبغ علي صبر. Okay, and well, so I wrote this. This is the way to write it is S with an apostrophe. In Hebrew, we have this letter, and it's a Sa here. Like you say, Saddiq. Saddiq. You know, I don't know how many of you read Hebrew or heard Hebrew. Maybe this would help. That's why I wrote also in Arabic and in Hebrew. Okay, it's Sadiq. So this is a sa. DH is a letter that it is, you don't have it in any other language but Arabic, okay, and spoken Arabic, and it's a va, va. I don't know if anybody really, except for those people who may be born in Iraq or has spoken Judeo Arabic a lot, you know how to pronounce it. It's a va, va. Like in Israel, the Palestinians cannot even pronounce it in the right way. They say da, not va, but da, okay? But it should be pronounced as da. Now, this is another letter that is ta, ta, tayyara, ta, okay? It's not ta, it's ta. Now you'll have, I hope when you listen to this video, when I send it to you, you'll be able to try to practice, because I cannot, you know, hear all of you like in a choir saying ah. It's very difficult, but you should try as much as you can to pronounce it in the right manner. Ta, as in va, okay? Now here, you wouldn't believe it. I told you like the va, you see here, there are two letters that are written in the same manner. See, this va, this is pronounced as va, and this is also pronounced as va. There are two letters that are written in different manners in the Arabic language that sound exactly the same, which is really, I don't know. When my students ask me, I always say I will go to send them a letter and find out. They look exactly the same, and as far as I'm concerned, as long as they sound the same, they are the same for me. Okay, so it's DH. Now this is also a letter. It is used very, very much, and it's a ah. Like my name is Oded, Ami, Oded. Even Israelis have a difficult time trying to pronounce it. They usually pronounce it as an ah. They call me Oded. No, I'm Oded. Ain. Ain is a letter that is very much present in the Hebrew language, but most of the Israelis do not pronounce it in the right fashion, except maybe for the Yemenites and the Iraqis. So this is a ah, and I had to make, you know, to find out how to write it in transliterated. So I put an a with an apostrophe. Okay, now this letter is ra. Ra is like you. I said when you say in French, you don't use the letter R in French. You say ra, rose, bonjour. Okay, if some of you speak French, then it is easy for you to pronounce it. Those of you who speak Hebrew, usually in Hebrew, most of people would use a ra. They say boker tov. They don't say boker tov. They use ra instead of ra. But in the Arabic language and in the Judeo Arabic, we have both. We say siyara and we say zghayr. So we have ra and we have ra. Okay. So this is the sign for ra. Okay. Now F is easy. And now here there is another letter that is present in Judeo Arabic very, very much, and also in the classical Arabic, and it's the letter qa. Qa. Tali daqallaq. Ruhi qallalu. Qa. Taqallaq. Qu. Qiqi. Okay. They laugh here in Hebrew, say Coca-Cola instead of Coca-Cola. Okay. So this is the letter qa, and its sign is the Q. Okay, I couldn't put a K. The K is already taken for ka, so I wrote it as a ka. Here the K, ka is easy, L is easy, M is easy, N is easy, no problem. Now H in Hebrew, they almost do not pronounce it. Okay, for some reason they also, you know, just bypass it. And we do, like in Arabic, we use ha. And in English, we say has, he. This wouldn't be a problem for you, okay? Now the W is easy when it's used as a consonant, and tali, wiyai, wa is W, very easy, okay, as a consonant. Now, ya as a consonant also is easy. We know this, like yes, okay, okay. Now we have something here that is a bit tricky, okay, and it's like in Arabic we call it Hamza. Like if I want to say I want to find like when you use a as mute, like I say masa al khair, masa al khair, masa. How do I write it down in a way that you'll understand that it's like it's a very small a mute a, okay? So masa. So I use this a with double apostrophe, and it's very seldom used, okay? Now V, we know how to pronounce V, that's easy. Now there is another letter that we do not have in the English letters alphabet, or even in the Hebrew alphabet. It's ja, ja. Like in French, they use like bonjour, okay, ja, okay. It's not a ja, and we have both. We have in our Judeo Arabic, we have ja and we have ja. Usually, ja is mostly for words who have origins in French language, and mostly like for like names of women who most probably have studied in the Alliance. Like we have Jacqueline and things like that. It's also seldom used. Okay, ja. Now ch is a cha, always a cha, never a sha. It's a cha, as in chin. Okay, that's easy. P is easy. We have it. G sorry, G is always a ga, never a ja. Okay, we use G like in gun, always, never with the J sound. Okay, we allocate this ga to the G. All right. Now, sometimes we have a double vowel. How do you write like a double vowel? Ah. Okay, when you have this double vowel, you use double A. Okay, we don't have a problem with the double I or double O. That's easy, but we don't have AA like in the English language. So we're going to use AA like if I were to write the word hard in Judeo Arabic, I would have added another A for this word. Okay, now I want you to remember always, when you read or write Judeo Arabic, you are not writing English or reading English. We are just borrowing English letters, using the English letters to get the sounds right. Okay, we want the whole thing of this Judeo Arabic is 100% phonetic. Okay, forget how the word is written in English or even in Hebrew or in Arabic, whatever. I wanted to write it in a way so that when you read it, it will sound the same. Everything else isn't important. Okay, so even like if the writing is a bit funny, let's say, if you get the pronunciation right, you're there. Okay, so this is the double A, and this is an I when it's the beginning of a word. If I want to say E, like Italy, okay, I cannot do it otherwise, but like, because sometimes it's because it like when I say I, like I am. Okay, how do I write it? If I just write an I, you wouldn't know whether it's an E or it's an I. So we'll see to that. Now, sometimes, now here, I, maybe it's evident, but sometimes you have when you say and sometimes it's a. So I wanted to make a difference between and a, like in bird. Bird is not written with an e, but it's bird. So I would, if I was writing bird in Judeo Arabic, I would use an e. But if I want to say and a, I want to make a difference between and a. So this I write just like a simple e, and here I write it as an ei. Now a lot of this I know it's just theory, and of course the only way to get used to it is to practice it. And I have a lot of material made in that fashion. Okay, I'll just close this for now, and I will put another here it is. Yeah. Okay. Now here, let me make it a bit bigger. Okay. Now I prepared here a list of family relations. Okay. Get used to it. When I say JL, that's mean Judeo Arabic. Okay. You'll see this. Now, let's say this is walad. Walad is a boy. Okay. Walad. Okay. Now this is bneti. Bneti. You see the EI here? I'm getting the sound A. Bneti. Okay. Now, here is the word rijal, GH. If you remember, you don't, of course, but you'll look it up later on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to send you this, and I think I expect you to type it and put it next to you when you are reading or writing Judeo Arabic. So you see, Ra is a GH, okay? And since I'm saying I'm emphasizing the J, so it's Rijal, Rijal. So here you see is double J, okay?
Well, Dad, quick question with
Yeah.
Beneti.
Yeah,
Is Beneti my girl or is Beneti girl?
girl.
Okay, so how would I say my girl? Beneti?
No, Bneti Mali.
Okay.
There is words that
Binti.
finish in I is very difficult.
You can also
I mean,
say Binti.
no, Binti is my daughter, which is something else. Okay, Bneti is a girl. They can be like Eden is a Bneti, right? Hi Eden, she's a Bneti, and you Zion, Sion is a boy. Okay, now Mara, you see GH is Ra again, like we had. Where did we have a GH? Here, GH here, Rajjan. Okay, so Mara is a woman. Okay, if I want to say my woman, how would you say that, Sion?
Mrati.
Mrati, very good. Okay, it's changes. It's not Marathi, it's Mrati. Okay, now here I'll send you this as well, so you have a very broad vocabulary about family relations. Now this is Abuyi. Abuyi is my father, and you see there's a double O here. Okay, and sometimes it's a bit tricky. You can use an U. A U, like if I would have written, A-B-U-Y-I, you say Abuyi. So I wanted to make it a long vowel, so I said Abuyi. Okay, and here Ummi. Ummi is my mother. You see the double M here for emphasis. Okay. Now here Zoji. Zoji is my husband. Yeah, and you see the J used as a J. Mrati, like Sion just said, and you see here I'm using the double A, because it's mrati. It's a different from one A, which is short. Okay, I think you'll find this very straightforward once you get to get used to the list that I made. It will be very, very, I hope it will be easy. Okay, Sayyidi, double Y, but I'm emphasizing the Y, okay? My grandfather. Here, Sitti is my grandmother, and you see here the double T. Now here, the first time you said the KH, Akhuyi. The KH is a sound Ha. Akhuyi is my brother, and here Akhti is my sister. Okay?
So that,
Yeah.
how would you say, like, my mother? So how would you just say, like, mother?
M.
M?
M. Okay?
Okay.
I say Ummi is my mother. Okay? We'll go,
Okay.
we'll study later how to, they call it kinyan, but how to make a word your own, like Ummi, Ummak, Ummuk, Ummu, Umma, Umna, to relate it to the different pronouns. This is okay. This is something that we'll learn eventually, and once you know this pattern, then you can put it to anything that you like. Okay. Okay. This is Ibni, my son, and Binti is my daughter. Now, my grandson. There is a word in Arabic. Now, this is the first time we see the letter Ha. Okay, it's an H with an apostrophe, and it's Ha. Hafidi is my grandson, but usually in Judeo Arabic they don't use that word that much. This is the word they use in classical Arabic. Say they just don't bother, just say Ibn Ibni or Ibn Binti, like the son of my son or the son of my daughter. Okay, this is my grandson. The same thing goes for my granddaughter. We don't, there is the word hafidati, like hafidi is my grandson and hafidati is my granddaughter, but usually you say bint ibni or bint binti, the daughter of my son or the daughter of my daughter. Okay, they don't bother to use the Arabic sound. Okay, now here we go. There are two types of uncles. Okay, uncle who is the brother of my father, and there's another uncle who's the brother of my mother. Okay, now the Arabic language is really very rich, so they have another word allotted to each one of them. Ammi, you see, this is the first time you see the letter A, and Ammi, double M, this is my uncle, my father's brother, and you also use this word for some reason or another as being my father-in-law. My father-in-law is also called Ammi. Okay, maybe in a way to make him more dear to me, or to make him sound more dear to me at least. So I call him Ammi, like he is as if he's one of my close family relations. So Ammi is my uncle, okay? And Ammeti, you see how is this word written? Ain and then E, double M, T. Okay, this is my aunt from my father's side. She's the sister of my father. Okay, Khali, KH double A, Khali. You see how it sounds? Khali is my uncle on my mother's brother. Okay, from my mother's side. And Khaliti is my aunt on my mother's sister. Okay, Khaliti. So we have Ammi and Ammiti and Khali and Khaliti. Okay, my uncle, my aunt from both sides. Okay. Now the wife of my uncle is called Mrat Ammi. Okay, Mrat Ammi is my uncle's wife, from my father's brother, and she's also my mother-in-law. Okay, we said Ammi is my also can be my father-in-law. Mrat Ammi is my mother-in-law. Okay, get used to it. My mother-in-law. There is a word in classical Arabic which is hamati, but they don't use it in Judeo Arabic. They just say, don't bother, just say Mrat Ammi. Okay, the same. You see, the pattern goes on. Mrat Khali is my uncle's wife. Mrat Zoj Ammeti is the husband of my aunt. I'm going to give you a quiz at the end of the session. Okay, Zoj Ammeti, the husband of my aunt, who is the husband of my father's sister. Okay, you remember Khali is from my mother's side, and Ammi is from my father's side, and goes for masculine and feminine. This Khaliti. Okay, Ibn Ammi is the son of he's my cousin, and from my father's brother's son.
Okay. Two questions.
Yeah.
The first question, how do you say great uncle, like the brother or the sister of your grandparents?
There is no special word for that. I can say Abunul Khali or Abunul Ammi or things like that. We don't have a special, like you say, we don't even have a special word for my grandson. Say Ibn Ibni or Ibn Binti. Okay. Karina is here, and I'm her uncle, but her daughter would call me Khali Likbir, which is
Big uncle.
there is no really a special word for it. Okay,
I just want to say that the question did come from Jamie, because you are her great uncle.
I'll take Khali Likbir or Ammi Likbir for, it will be enough. Yeah, that will be fun. Wonderful. Okay.
Now, the second question I had is, we talk about Mkhat Ammi. When do you use Mkhat Ammi and when do you use Amma? Is it permissible to call somebody that you're not related to Amma, or do you have to say Mkhat Ammi?
No, there are two different things. Ammeti is the sister of my father. Okay. Mkhat Ammi is the wife of my uncle from my father's side, which is different. And Mkhat Ammi is also my mother-in-law. Always, there is no difference. So, like, she could be a complete stranger, and I would call her. I mean, before I got married to her daughter, and I still call her Mkhat Ammi. Okay. By the way, like they use it, like when I see like a lady in the street that I don't know her, I haven't seen her before, and I want to be very polite to her. I call her Khaliti. This is more used in the Arab countries, like the Arabs use this Khalti. When you see somebody that you don't know, an older woman, and you want to talk to her, like you give her respect. Okay. Did I answer your question? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you did.
Yeah,
okay. It's like ma'am in English.
Okay. So now I didn't want to write the whole thing of Ibn Ammi, Ibn Ammeti, Ibn Khali, Ibn Khaliti. The same goes for the daughter of. And when we say the daughter of, is it Bit Ammi, Bit Ammeti? We don't say Bint, we just say Bit. Okay? We skip the end, and Bit Khali, Bit Khaliti, same as, so you like the same thing goes for the daughter of. Okay, Ibn Akhuyi and Ibn Akhti is my nephew. Okay, we don't have a special word for that. As Bint Akhuyi, Bint Akhti is my niece. Okay, Zoj Akhti is my sister's husband, and they have a word. They sometimes it's used, not so much in Nsibi. Okay, okay. Mrat Akhuyi is the wife.
Slicha Oded.
Yeah.
The Nsibi, it's not my luck.
Nasibi Basad is my luck. Okay, and Sibi is my brother-in-law. Okay, Silfiti is a word only for a woman to use when she's talking about her brother's wife. Hi Silfiti. Okay, a man wouldn't say silfiti. Okay, but a woman would call her brother's wife silfiti. Now this is very unique. Like Adili is the husband of my wife's sister. Like there are two sisters married to different men. The relation between the two men is Adili. I don't know if you heard this before. This is a very special way of calling this kind of relation. Now, Kinneti is my daughter-in-law. Okay, it's used for a man or for a woman. I can say Kinneti, the wife of my son, and my wife would say the same thing about the wife of her son. She would say Kinneti. Okay, Kinneti, my daughter-in-law, and Sahri is my son-in-law. Okay. Now here is something which is more interesting. Al-Fiqi is my lover. Okay, now this is used for a woman. A woman would say Al-Fiqi, which means my lover, like somebody she's in relation with, but she is not his wife. Okay, but for a man to say Al-Fiqi, he means his friend. Sometimes we say Al-Fiqi, hada Al-Fiqi, I mean that he's my friend, but when a woman would say Al-Fiqi, she means her lover. Okay, now Fiqati is only meant as my lover, as I'm talking like I have a woman that I'm in a relationship with and she's not my wife, she is Fiqati. Okay, this like a woman wouldn't say for her friend as Fiqati, maybe not so much. We say Sadiqati. Sadiq is friend. Okay, now here we go for Khatibi. Khatibi is my fiance. Okay, in masculine, Khatibi, and Khatibati is my fiance, like the woman I'm going to get married to. Now here is a word I usually make it as a puzzle. You know, what would you call your wife's? Your husband's wife? And most people will say me. You know. How would you call when a man is married to more than one woman, then the relation between those two women is called ضغطي. And well, it is very seldom that Jewish men are married to more than one woman, but if there is, then she's ضغر in plural. Okay, so
maybe from Hebrew tsarati.
Saratin, that's right, in Hebrew. Okay, so I wanted here to first of all, you know, to give you that lot of you know, words to in Judeo Arabic. At the same time, I wanted you to practice a little bit listening, at least to the words being spoken. And I hope when you listen again to the video, by the way, I'm only going to record this video, this session on video, the rest I will not, but here this is as introduction, and you can get used to the sounds as I make them and try to imitate me as much as possible. It is very difficult to try to, you know, I would have liked to listen to each one of you, but on Zoom it's almost impossible. I'll try to maybe my niece Karina, the wonderful Karina, she's a Zoom expert, and she told me that there is a way I can put you like in small classes, and maybe I'll do that in the future so that I can listen to each group at a time and not at, you know, for so many at the same time, because it would be almost impossible. So I want to give you like another example, an easy one. Let me get to, yeah, that's fine. Okay. I hope you can see that. Do you also see that? Let me put it in. Okay. Okay. Like there is I, you, and carry on. This is the pronouns, the basic pronouns. Ana. Ana means me or I. Ana
We're still
jitu.
seeing the older document, or not the new one.
Oh, okay. Just a minute. Thank you.
You have
Let
to
me
close it first.
stop sharing. Yeah. Now I'll share again. Now you can see that pronouns.
Yes, we can.
Good.
Yes, that's good.
Okay. So ana means me and I. Okay. And enta, you see, the way I pronounce the e, enta is you for masculine. Okay. We have an nt is for you as feminine. Okay. Ana, enta, inti. Okay. Now he is huwi. Huwi qarid, huwi ja, huwi, and so on. And for she is hiyi. Hiyi. Okay. Now for we is nahna. Nahna. And you see here the hay, which is an H with an apostrophe. Intim is you, and it's used for feminine and masculine. Okay, for both. As himmi is they, also used for both sexes. Okay. Now right here, when you want to say mine, and this is an easy way, like instead of like you say kitab. Kitab means book. If I want to say my book, I will say kitabi. And then I want to say your book and say kitaba. If you're in feminine, I would say kitabu and kitabu, kitaba. And sometimes you get lost in these different ways of putting this with the pronoun. But the easy way, just say, continue with saying mali, kitab mali. Okay. Once you study this this way of putting things as your possession, then you wouldn't have to learn how to, to try to say things that belong to you anymore. So it's easy. So it's mali, which is mine. Malak is yours. Maluk is yours for feminine. Malu is his. And mala is hers. And malna is ours. Malcolm is yours, plural, and malim is theirs. So you can put this together, telephone mali, telephone mala, whatever you need, just add mali and becomes yours. Okay, no problem. Okay, we have a few more minutes. If anybody has, I'll just stop sharing here so that I can see you. And if anybody would like to ask me something, or go ahead and just unmute yourself. Okay?
A little like a joke.
Okay,
my uncle used to, when I call him Khali, he would say, Leshanam khalkhal. It's like I'm maybe
Khal is vinegar. Khal is
yes.
vinegar. So it sounds
So
a little bit khal. Yeah, very good.
So I say, okay, Ammi. He said, Ana Ammi.
There's no way you can beat him, huh?
Am I blind? And then I say, okay, Dod. So he said, am I mdawed?
No.
Am I full of worms?
That's nice. That's nice. Well, by the way, I promise you next time I'm making a very big bunch of very interesting proverbs. We'll start proverbs. We have also like all kinds of greetings, and I'm going even to tell you how to curse. But soft curses, nothing very heavy. Okay. Anybody else would like to say something?
I have a question.
Yes.
Oded, I have a question. I'd like to know what name you were born with, what name you were given at birth.
Okay, I was called Adil. And I tell you why, because my father has a very Hebrew name. He was called Liyahu or Eliyahu. So everybody, when they heard his name, they knew right on the spot that he was Jewish, and he wanted to hide his being Jewish, and so he called me Adil. So everybody called him Abu Adil, and it was difficult for them. Yeah. So when I came to Israel, this is like a name that I took. You know, they gave me a name trying to protect. But when I came to Israel, I wanted to be like as Hebrew as possible, as Jewish as possible. So I changed it into something a bit similar. Still, some of my relatives still call me Adil, and that's fine with me.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Odette, I got to find out about this program by a fluke, by an accident.
Okay.
It hasn't been like widely advertised, and I know that Anna wanted to keep it on the smaller side, so I could advertise it further in the Iraqi Association. So Norma is a good friend of ours, your sister Norma.
Yeah.
I live in Toronto.
Okay.
She's clearly, her and Ramsey, part of the association. Katrina, of course, I know since she was a baby. So we could advertise it further to all the Iraqi Jewish Association. I don't know how many people you would want, but I think there will be uptake. Right now we have 40 members as I see it here.
Yeah, and you know, at least if it's less than 1,000, that's okay.
Okay, then then I will be happy to advertise.
I'm joking.
Of course.
Listen, actually, I usually have smaller groups. I want it to be more interactive. Okay.
I understand.
And there is I would have made like another group, but the problem with you North Americans is we have this time difference. Like with me, you wouldn't believe it. Now it's almost 10 o'clock p.m. It's not past my bedtime yet, but this is the 4th hour that I've been Zooming. So I don't know. First of all, I'd love it if you can, you know, spread it around. I hope this is only an elementary course, and I hope that we'll have many more, and then maybe we can have some more advanced courses. So go ahead, please.
We'll do that
advertise
then.
it and let Anna work harder. and we'll see how many.
I don't know about working harder than this.
Nice to meet you, Anna.
Can I ask everybody?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You said you're going to send the paperwork, the list of the vocabulary as well as the recording. Are you going?
Yes.
How are you going to post that? Are you going to send it to each and every one of us?
No. Actually, our wonderful Anna is putting a WhatsApp group together. So I'll send the document to that group, and each one can download it on his computer and type it, and it can be with you. I'll be sending you a lot of documents like that during our next sessions, and you can keep them with you and go back to them. And I hope after this session, when we try to pronounce these different letter formations, and I hope that it will be easy for you to know how to pronounce it. Of course, I'll be doing that in the session itself, but I hope you can practice, and you must practice it. Maybe if some of you know each other, you can get together and try to read to each other or whatever. I hope that little by little you'll be an expert on the ha and the ha and the ha and the ah and all that. Wow, it isn't easy, I know, but I'll be sending you also some recordings of songs that I sang in Judeo Arabic, that I wrote and sang, and some of the sketches. So you'll have fun. I promise. Okay.
I want to thank you very much for this. I have not heard an accent like yours since my mom died. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling to be back. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Actually, you know, a lot of my Israeli students also, when they come to the classes, you know, they get so emotional, you know, remembering
Yeah,
their family members, and it's wonderful that we're still holding on, and maybe we'll keep it alive a bit more.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
We all owe a thank you to Anna to arrange this.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. I'm very, very happy. There are so many people here and so many younger people, which are really my you know, my hope that, you know, when younger people start talking the language or listening to it, and maybe it has a better chance to survive. And thank you again, Anna, for everything you've been doing so far. And I promise to make you work even harder in the future. And I'm going to say goodbye to all of you and good night. And please stay safe and stay very healthy. Okay. And I'll be sending you this session on YouTube, and I hope you'll keep it, and also sending you all the documents. So goodbye for now.
Thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you, Anna.
I will
Thank you.
be adding Odette to our chat. I was still adding more people and I didn't want to repeat. That's why I waited until towards the end. Some of you joined this morning actually. So it's been just a work in progress, and I'm very proud of our accomplishments so far. And I'm very, very proud of all the young people who have joined us, second and third generations. I really did it for you guys. And I'm proud to have the older ones there to reminisce and, you know, remember the old language that they once heard or knew. But really seeing all your faces from all works of life, really, we have people from around the world that somehow got the flyer and it went viral. So I didn't want it to be too big, but I'm happy that we all got together here from UK, from Montreal, from Toronto, from Great Neck, from New York, San Francisco, California, North Virginia, Bronx.
I think even from Israel there are a few.
From Israel.
Anybody from Israel? Hold up your hands.
Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New Jersey, and Florida. I mean, we have from everywhere. I'm so proud to have this group together, and who knows what will come out of it in the future. So thank you again, Odette, and we'll continue working, and we will definitely share more in the chat.
And see you soon. Bye.
See you next week at 2 o'clock.
Okay. Bye.